Oh, hello there. Would you like some neck? I have plenty to spare.
Ladies, gentlemen, and Haradrim of all ages, last night Blizzard surprised us all with the full-on trailer and information slides on Season 2 for Diablo 4, which is incredible considering it's been barely a month since the start of Season 1. We still have 2 months left of it, but now we can see what's coming afterwards, and well, to be honest with you, it looks sort of good. I'm excited for the disappointment is what I'm saying, as until proven otherwise, I need to see changes in the actual game to believe them and actually think they're good. In any case, with this announcement happening, there was also a blog post that was released by the developers and multiple tweets from the devs as well, responding to various questions about this season. Not to mention a hotfix that released not long before the announcement of Season 2, and another hotfix that released not long afterwards. So let's break down what's been going on in the last couple of days surrounding Diablo 4. First up, I feel like we should start with the hotfix, just get it out of the way really quickly. They fixed a performance issue that was caused by the Barber Malignant Heart that was causing problems for some players, and then some small changes to do with the gold cap as well, which is sort of a crazy thing to consider reaching, at least for me at this current point. That was it for the hotfix though. It was really small, nothing major, nothing balance related, just some tiny fixes to things that, are important for some people, but not for everyone by any means. Then after the announcement trailer was dropped, we got hotfix 3 for this current patch, which had the notes that were simply further stability and performance improvements, which I've never heard before in my life. It's a joke. It happens every time. It's usually just a byline. Sometimes it's the entire container of the patch notes, and that is the case for hotfix 3. However, these performance fixes that they've done somehow managed to break the Barber heart afterwards, so not very long afterwards at all, they rolled back the hotfix. It's just not currently in effect in the game because it was breaking a full-on malignant heart, not just anyone, the most important one of the game as far as most people are concerned, as far as most builds are concerned. Past that, we have the season itself, of course, and before we even dive into any of this, I want to absolutely acknowledge that any hope that anything new to the game will be good at this point really sort of is copium. Nothing can be taken at face value these days from the devs until it reaches the game, because at this point, goodwill as a concept for this game is just gone. Trust needs to be built back up, which is going to be hard because breaking trust and getting it back is a lot tougher than getting trust in the first place. And this game has burned all of us as a community multiple times. I mean, I'll break it down in a moment, but in a vacuum of ignoring the rest of the stuff around the game, the trailer for Season 2 actually looks sort of good. It contains good things, a decent amount of things, right? Yet the community response to that trailer is about 2/3 dislikes. If that doesn't say it, I don't know what does. Oh, how about these comments on our own video about the trailer? Yep, this one gets it. It's sad to be happy about something so simple that we just should have already had. Blizzard has proven time and time again that they cannot be trusted in recent years. Yep, that's very true. And while people were hoping this wouldn't include Diablo 4, we have definitely been hit by this here as well. Slim shot, I'll reinstall the game. Yeah, I get it. I feel that completely. The game has been in a rough state since launch, honestly. Various updates have been happening, some of them improving the game, some of them somehow making things worse, and honestly, the fact that the most exciting stuff about Season 2 so far is quality of life that should have been in the base game is extremely underwhelming and disappointing. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's break it down as lightly as possible, as we actually already have a video up on the channel diving into it. On October 17th, when Season 1 ends, Season 2 will immediately begin, the Season of Blood. The main theme of this season is vampires being sent to Sanctuary that we all need to deal with. We've been promised 5 new endgame bosses, which is actually a reasonably sizable amount to give us, at least in theory, until we see it in game and see how it all plays out. I'm definitely big on this as a concept at the very least, but we'll have to see. Then we also have mention of vampiric powers. These will be our power boosts, our upgrades that are season locked, like the Malignant Hearts are in Season 1. Given that it's a season about vampires, I have to imagine there might be some lifesteal-y stuff somewhere in all of this. It just matches the concept, and I do feel like a season where in that season only and nowhere else, everyone has some small amount of lifesteal can actually be incredibly fun to play around with, even without considering other powers. Just the idea that you could build a lot less defensively, build a lot more offensively, maybe make some new synergies that you physically couldn't before because of restrictions. That said, with the information that has been given to us so far, Season 2 looks to be more packed than Season 1 was. At the very least, there's more stuff. Similar concepts, of course, new bosses, limited time powers, but it seems like they've just gone harder on the actual amount of things. And if that's the case, that could do a lot to alleviate some of the issues with Season 1, which, aside from a number of quality of life issues issues with the game itself were that the new things in Season 1 were fun, but became mostly unplayed content incredibly quickly because it just wasn't relevant in Endgame. On top of that, we got some solid secondary bits of information about the updates that will surround Season 2, or at the very least we got confirmation on some things. One big thing is new target farming methods for uniques and uber uniques, which is definitely a welcome addition to the game. Not only the idea that we could actually, farm our uniques faster, but the fact that any of us could actually maybe get an uber unique from doing this, so that's the possibility. That little nagging need in my head to speculate as well thinks that will likely be completely tied to the new endgame bosses. 5 new endgame bosses make sense for target farming difficult items, which I think would be a solid way to do that. Give people actual rewards for engaging in more challenging content. Then we have the announcement of a change to the renown system that we've all wanted since launch, and that is Season 2 and going forward, you will just never have to do renown again once you've completed it once. It will sync across all of your characters, not just Altars of Lilith and Fog of War like we have it right now. Renown as a whole, the whole system just completely and entirely, so you never have to interact with it at all a second time. This is something that players have asked for since launch. They made some slight compromises for Season 1, carrying over the most obtuse parts of the renown grind so you didn't have to do it again, but then players were like, hey, you know how we said we didn't want to do this again? We didn't mean that we'd like it to be 30% less, we meant that we don't want to do it at all. And now they apparently heard that and ask, oh, why didn't you say that sooner? Because here it is in Season 2, no more renown farming that you'll have to do ever again. They're also going to put in updated elemental resistance systems, which, let's be very clear about, means a fixed and hopefully functional elemental resistance system no matter how they word it, because currently it just does nothing in the game. Then some reworks to the functionality of vulnerable, overpower, and critical strikes, which is definitely something that makes me a little bit wary to see in text, but we'll have to see what they actually do with it, and how it actually feels in the game is the most important part, of course. Then finally we have a promised inclusion for Season 2, which is that gems will no longer take up inventory space at all, which is a slight improvement to the inventory management issue that we have, and a much bigger help that we're getting is that the stash can be searched and filtered. My god, I cannot express how happy it makes me to read that. I hope that there's actually a reasonable amount of filters, that the search function actually works properly, but we'll have to see what we get. But the thing is, why does this make me so happy? It's so sad as a concept that it does that. Such a basic thing as, oh hey, I can now search through the page full of different items to see what these are easier. Makes me this happy? What has this game done to me? And that's it for what they revealed in the blog post, but as I mentioned, we also have had a number of tweets from the developers about this too. Someone here is thankful about the renown changes, but asks if this only applies from seasonal characters to new seasonal characters, or if this works on Eternal Realm characters too, to go back and forth. And Adam Fletcher, the Global Community Development Director, says Eternal and Seasonal, meaning that from start of Season 2, you will never have to do renown again, ever, on any character in any situation, as long as you have completed it one time. After that, we have someone asking about the 5 new endgame bosses, specifically if they are Season 2 exclusive or if they are part of the Eternal Realm as well, and this part, the answer actually really surprised me, because Fletcher replied saying Eternal as well. Varshan in Season 1 is a seasonal only boss, tied deeply to the seasonal story and mechanics. These 5 new endgame bosses, however, will also be on the Eternal Realm, which means that they are a bit more flexible, at least in some way. That's it. I won't complain about it conceptually, because one of my gripes with the game is I wish that there were just more bosses in it, more boss variety, so they permanently add a few every season, rather than just rotating new ones in and then never having them around again. Then I'm definitely good with that option personally. Then we have an actually pretty big deal tweet from Rod Ferguson, implying that the entire season theme that we have so far may not be trustworthy. Somebody making a joke about Diablo and zombies. Rod replies, vampires, obviously it's vampires, I said vampires so many times, and we have a cool twist on that to reveal. What could a cool twist on vampires be? Time will have to tell with that one, though just the idea of a twist on vampires could definitely make this more interesting than what we're aware of so far. That said, I'm aware that I'm sort of grasping at straws here right now by trying to have any sort of hype for this. This season so far does seem to look better than Season 1, sure, but whether that will actually be a meaningful difference or not won't be seen until we know a lot more about the season. So while seeing this stuff is nice, I'm definitely remaining more than a little bit skeptical until we see more right now. I think it says a problematically large amount, honestly, that the most exciting parts of Season 2 that we know about so far are the ability to skip a part of the game that we as players never enjoyed doing multiple times, the fixing of resistances, which have been broken since launch, which is also a core part of set building, by the way, gems not taking up inventory space, that's exciting, and the quality of life change that is stash searching and filtering, which is honestly a big deal for the game, but is also just mystifying that it wasn't a thing beforehand. These are all relatively basic things that we should expect from the game, that should already be be a part of it. And when the majority of my excitement is from something that we should already have had in here, it makes it very weird to process the whole thing, you know? So with that said, until I see more about the content of the season itself, I'm not at all ready to say it's a winner, though what we have seen so far is all sounding good at the very least, and thanks to the quality of life and major bug fixes that I just mentioned, if nothing else, Diablo 4 will be a lot more playable when Season 2 drops, even if the season content itself is just sort of okay. The game itself will be at least a little bit more functional around that. And that's it really, everyone. A complete breakdown of all the news that's happened recently around Diablo 4, the sneaky hotfix, the quick announcement of Season 2 at Gamescom, and of course everything that we know about the season so far, along with everything the devs are saying in relation to it. And they've actually been surprisingly chatty about it so far, so who knows what more information could come in the next few days. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your own thoughts on all of this down in the comments below as well. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world our stage. Goodbye.